Take one. This is the Verbal Antidote time. Welcome to the Verbal Antidote channel. Breaking news from Fox Live 8 hours ago shows you the stubbornness of Benjamin Nethanyahu, the commanders, and IDF. The continuation of bloodletting of babies, women, and children. All right, here we go. Watch.
You continue to follow breaking news headlines this Sunday morning. There on your screen now at 9:12 on the East Coast. You're getting a live look out in Gaza, and my goodness, this puts it into perfect perspective as we're following breaking news. You see the missile strikes there on your screen. We're learning Israeli forces are battling Palestinian militants across the Gaza Strip this morning, including in parts of the devastated north that the military said it had cleared months ago. Now, this is where Hamas has exploited a security vacuum to regroup. Joining us live this morning to share the latest on this ongoing conflict and these breaking news headlines is national security expert Mr. Ken Gray. Mr. Ken, always a pleasure speaking with you here on Live Now from Fox. Good morning.
Good morning, Janae. Glad to be with you again.
Glad to have you. That video truly compelling. I mean, seeing in real time these airstrikes and just further showing that the fighting continues, now moving to northern Gaza. If you could catch us up, please.
Sure. As you pointed out, that there is fighting erupting all across the Gaza Strip. Places that had supposedly been cleared of Hamas is now heating up once again. Fighting in both Gaza City and down in Khan Yunis. So while the IDF is mounted up, ready to make entry into Rafah, they find that places that they had supposedly cleared are now heating up once again. The problem is that when you play whack-a-mole instead of holding an area and maintaining that, keeping the terrorists from returning to that area, you're going to have these eruptions. That occurs when you don't have enough manpower to actually clear an area and hold the area. Instead, the IDF has just simply cleared an area and then moved on to other areas, allowing the Hamas to return back to those areas and becoming a problem once again.
Mr. King, when you said whack-a-mole, it took me back to my younger days when I would be out at Chuck E. Cheese playing that game. But when you think of whack-a-mole, you know, it pops up and it goes back down. And that is how the situation is when you think about the tunnels and the network system. So Hamas pops up in one area, they go back through the tunnels, they pop up in another. But some confused why this is happening amid these ceasefire negotiations out in Egypt. We know that Hamas did present that plan saying they're okay to stop fighting, but when they keep erupting through these tunnel systems, that kind of goes against that notion.
Yeah. So Hamas wins this battle with Israel as long as they survive. Hamas wins by not losing. And so things like the negotiations over the hostages, that is just another tactical ploy by Hamas to continue surviving. Trying to get the world opinion on their side to stop them from entering Rafah works towards their favor of surviving. And so Hamas has played this very well, and that's what their plan was from the very beginning when they attacked on October 7th, grabbed hostages and brought them back into the Gaza Strip. The whole purpose was to use those hostages as bargaining chips and trying to get the world to come in on their side. They were hoping for the other Arab nations to join them in fighting against Israel. That it has not happened so far, but nonetheless, they are getting the world's attention. The world viewpoint seems to be turning towards favoring the Palestinians in this conflict. The world that looks at Israel's actions against the Palestinian as exactly what Hamas wants to make it viewed as.
I don't support terrorism, but if they didn't have Hamas in Palestine,
Hamas is the only thing
there'd be 1 million people dead.
Israel and wiping out the Palestinians.
Mr. King, you
I don't
mentioned
support
the
terrorism.
bargaining chips, and many feel, even
Militant,
the viewers I've
but
seen them mention, they feel like
that's
the
has
Israel
somebody
task
to
force being
protect
used as a bargaining chip when
Palestine.
it comes to the election season. We've seen it on
And
the
1
Israeli
million
side,
dead
and also here in
Palestinians.
the U.S. And I will say, we've seen recent news
So
where
that's the
President
answer.
Biden has
To
pledged
militant
to
groups.
potentially
It's like
stop supplying
paramilitary.
arms to Israel if they continue to invade. But if you think
That's
about
all
it,
it
the
is.
IDF has said from the very beginning, Mr. King, we will not stop until Hamas is defeated. So the
Mhm.
likelihood that those invasions will stop is honestly slim to
That's
none.
what I think it is.
Yeah, it's interesting that this war has
Some
now
of it.
become a domestic battle both in Israel and in the United States. And Israel is a domestic battle in that those favoring hostage deals, being the priority, find themselves opposing the interests of IDF and those on the extreme right inside Netanyahu's party that wants to wipe out Hamas and remove it as a threat against
Can't do
Israel
it.
in the future. And so
All at
that's
one time.
a
You can't
domestic
do it.
battle going on there. If Netanyahu does not continue the process of pursuing
Genocide.
Hamas, those on the extreme
Genocide
right
or
in
collateral
his party
damage.
will walk,
Women and
and his
children.
government will fold. Those who are on the interests of the hostages as being the priority,
Dead.
they also can very well cause this government to fold.
Nothing
And
but
so
dead
it's
babies.
really very much a domestic problem there in
Children.
Israel as they are battling this threat of Hamas, which attacked them on October 7th. Here in the United States, it's a domestic battle also, in that President Biden has his eye towards the November election, and he sees his backing of Israel for potentially calving off part of the Democratic Party, especially in the young. There's a number of people, a number of Democrats who favor the Palestinians over the Israelis. And so to try to regain their votes, regain their interest, President Biden is trying to play hardball with Israel, saying, do not enter Rafah, that that the humanitarian crisis that will occur there with
Sitting ducks.
Palestinians being within
Shut up. It's a bloodbath.
the pathway of Israel
Stop
wiping
it.
out Hamas, that the death toll will be too high,
They're sitting
that it
ducks.
is a price that the world will not sanction. And so this is very much a domestic issue here. President Trump, on the other hand, is pointing out that President Biden, that the policies is actually walking away from our ally there in the Middle East.
Really?
Israel.
Shut up.
And so he is, of course, against President Biden's holding back arms to Israel.